Hello and welcome back to another movie review. I'm actually doing this one a couple days after seeing this film because, as I said in one of my previous couple of videos, I've been a little under the weather lately. You can probably still hear a little bit of my voice. I'm still really congested. But I actually lost my voice completely a couple days ago, and every time I would start to get it back, I'd have to work, and by the end of the day, it was just gone again. So I still went and saw a movie, but I was waiting until I got my voice back a little bit and let this congestion kind of clear a little bit so I could talk again. So if I sound a little funny, that's why. Anyway, the movie I saw most recently was White House Down. Now, when I first heard the title of this movie, I was basically under the impression that it's just going to be a clone of Olympus Has Fallen with a much worse name. Plus, it's starring Channing Tatum, which I'm not a big Channing Tatum fan, so I wasn't expecting much going into this. I was expecting to not really like it, but I went and watched it anyway because I had nothing else to do. And surprisingly, I actually ended up liking this better than Olympus Has Fallen. Basically, it just has a lot more going on with the story than Olympus Has Fallen did. Like I said, in Olympus Has Fallen, it was mostly just a real simplistic story and then a lot of action. And this one was a simplistic story, but they went into more detail about it, and there was more relationship building between the characters. And overall, it just made it a slightly better film. So, Channing Tatum's character, basically, he works for some branch of the government doing security. I forget what one it was. Like I said, this is a couple days after I've actually watched it, so I'm going off of memory. So this one probably won't be too long. He works for some branch of security, and he calls in a favor from a friend to get an interview for a position on the president's Secret Service. So he's going in for the interview, and there's this backstory about how he's kind of distant from his daughter, but he's trying to be a part of her life, and for some reason she's really in love with the president and like all forms of politics. Like, she knows really detailed history about the White House and, you know, like just weird stuff like that. She's basically a politics geek. So he gets her a pass to the White House when he goes in for his interview, and, you know, he kind of surprises her with it, like, you know, I'm going in for the interview today, and then she's just kind of blowing him off like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, so I guess you don't want to go with me? And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, you're the best dad ever, type of thing. But, so they go to the White House, and she's sitting in the hall while he's being interviewed. And basically, they say that based on his past service record, he's not reliable enough to be Secret Service. So he's basically washed out of that. And then when he goes out in the hallway, his daughter goes, how did it go? And he does one of those, I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm not going to tell you the truth type of thing. You know, he's like, you know, I think I got a pretty good shot. You know, they still got to interview other candidates and do some checking on certain things, but I think I got a good shot, even though he knows that he's not going to get it. So then after that, they go on a tour of the White House, and at one point, the president catches up with the tour. The president's played by Jamie Foxx, who I didn't think I was going to like as the president either, but he actually turns out to be pretty funny, a lot funnier than he's been in some of the other stuff I've seen him in. I know he started out as a comedian, so I know he can be funny. I used to watch him all the time on In Living Color back in the 90s. But after that, he kind of took a downward turn to where he just wasn't that funny. But this actually reminded me why he used to be so popular back in the 90s, because he's actually pulling out some good material in this one. So he catches up with the tour and kind of, talks to him, and the little girl's like, can I get a picture with you? And, or no, she runs a blog where she talks about politics, and she's like 12, so yeah, so she's like, can I get a interview with you for my blog? And he thinks it's just gonna be some silly little girl question, but she actually asks him like a really political question, and it throws him off a little bit, but he still throws out an answer. And then after she's done doing the quick little one question interview, she goes, "This is my dad, he's gonna be on your Secret Service." And Jamie Foxx says, "I'm really particular about who I let on my Secret Service," and just kind of leaves it at that. And then he kind of pulls Channing Tatum aside. He's like, "Don't lie to children," which really he didn't lie. He just said he thought he had a good chance, but it wasn't confirmed yet. She's the one that kind of jumped ahead to the confirmation. So then the attack happens on the White House. I forget exactly how it all came down. It's an inside job again, just like in Olympus Has Fallen. And Channing Tatum, he gets separated from his daughter. I think he's in the original hostage group, and his daughter went to use the restroom as they were taken hostage, and he manages to find out, where did she go, what restroom was she in from the tour guide. And then he manages to escape and goes looking for her. And during that time, she's running around filming stuff with her phone and uploading it to her blog. And eventually, she gets recaptured and is put back in with the hostage group. And then Channing Tatum is just running around trying to take out the terrorists. And he ends up meeting up with the president, and they're kind of working together because the president knows all the secret passages through the White House, and Channing Tatum's just kind of the muscle and gun guy. So they're trying to go around and take out all the terrorists, basically. The president in this one is a lot more important of a character than the president was in Olympus Has Fallen. Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx actually played really well off of each other. They got good comedic chemistry. Like I said, I'm not a big Channing Tatum fan, but I actually enjoyed him in this. I liked him in this a hell of a lot better than I liked him in G.I. Joe. So eventually they get the president out, and then he's going to go back in and get his daughter. And I think the president was going to go out, but then they found out the exit was rigged with a bomb, so he couldn't go out, but he was just kind of staying hidden type of thing. So Channing Tatum goes back looking for his daughter, and basically, as he's taking out the terrorists, he's in contact with the war room and stuff, but at one point they think that him and the president have been killed, and then when he gets back in contact with them, he finds out they've moved to drop a bomb on the White House, basically, end the terrorism before it goes any further. So there's some other action stuff that goes on, and then he gets his daughter out. He tells her, "Run, get past the gate. They're gonna bomb the White House. You gotta leave." And she basically runs out on the lawn with the president's flag, which she picked up from the Oval Office, and she starts waving it on the front lawn. And the strike team that's coming in sees her, and they're like, "I think she's trying to wave us off." And then they're trying to call for confirmation on whether to abort or drop it, and they're still under orders to go ahead and drop it. And the pilot finally says, "I'm not doing this. There's a kid down there or whatever. She's waving the flag. I'm going to abort." So he aborts. They fly away without dropping the bomb. And turns out they were right not to do it, because at that point Channing Tatum had retaken the White House. And then, spoilers, if you don't want to know how it ends, it turns out don't remember if it was the vice president or the vice president ends up getting killed at one point, so it's the next person down, the Secretary of Defense or whatever, that would be the third in line to be president if something were to happen to the president and vice president. He's taken power. He's the one that ordered the strike on the White House, and it turns out he's the one that instigated all this. So when Channing Tatum finally retakes the White House from the other Secret Service guy who had turned, because, yeah, that was the other thing. There was a Secret Service guy that turned because his son had been killed in action or something, and at one point his wife comes in, tries to talk him down, and then he goes, I'm doing this for our son, and then she's like, if you're doing it for our son, then keep doing it, which was weird. So then they arrested her for treason or something, I don't know. But, so when Channing Tatum retakes the White House and the acting president's there, and then he leads them to believe the president was killed so that he still thinks he's in command. And then he starts trying to institute policies that the other president that Jamie Foxx's character was against. And then he kind of gives up the fact that he was in on it without actually, he doesn't mean to say it, but something he says kind of lets everyone know that that's what happened. And then Channing Tatum calls him on it, and he's like, you can't prove it, and I'm still the president. And then Jamie Foxx comes out and says, no, actually, I'm the president, and then has him arrested. And then the president's going to fly away on Marine One, and he goes, well, I'm not going anywhere without my top Secret Service agent, basically saying that he was hiring Channing Tatum. So then Channing Tatum goes and gets onto Marine One, and his daughter's staying with her mother, who's on the lawn. And then he yells back to her, he's like, did you want to come with us? Because the president allowed it. So then she gets to ride on Marine One with the president and her dad. That's kind of the movie. Like I said, I'm kind of doing a quick synopsis of it because I'm going off memory from a couple days ago, so I don't really remember every minor detail, but that's basically the gist of it. Like I said, I do like it better than Olympus Has Fallen. For more or less, it's the same movie, but this one had a lot better story. The characters worked a lot better together. The supporting characters actually had stuff going on instead of just being background pieces, like in Olympus Has Fallen. Although Olympus Has Fallen had the better name and was a decent action flick, this one wins out, in my opinion, based on the better backstory and the better character relations. As far as a star rating, I want to do better than what I gave Olympus Has Fallen, which I think I gave Olympus Has Fallen a 4. But I don't think this one's quite a 4.5. It still could have been better. I think in one of my other reviews, I actually said that I almost wish I hadn't given Olympus Has Fallen a 4 because I gave something else a 4 that was much better than it. So I kind of downgraded Olympus Has Fallen to a 3.5. So based on that, if I had downgraded Olympus Has Fallen to a 3.5 stars, then I'd put this one at a 4. If Olympus Has Fallen was still a 4, this one would be, I want to say 4.5, but like a 4.25 star. I know I said I don't want to do quarter stars. That's why I really need a different rating system. But it's pushing towards a 4.5. It's just, it had its flaws just like Olympus Has Fallen. So although it's a decent film, it's not a perfect film. Do I recommend it? Yes. Definitely check it out wherever you can find it. Netflix, Redbox, whatever. Or if it's still in your theaters, go check it out. Definitely worth it. It was a fun movie overall. Had some good comedy, a lot of action. Anyway, that's it for White House Down, and that actually wraps up the month of June. Starting into the month of July now. I don't think we have anything major new opening until second week of the month, so I'm probably going to spend the next week catching up on a couple other movies that I haven't seen yet. So I'm not sure which one I'll get around to first, but I'll get around to something within the next couple days here. I'm really hoping I can get the rest of this cold cleared up before I do another one of these, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for this review. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the movies.